Hey guys, HMK once again with a bit of a different video. Now, if you guys are the real OGs for the HMK brand, oh my goodness, then you guys knew I did a different type of video back in the day related to gaming, and the HMK channel is all about gaming. And that type of video I did was about Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! videos. And if you guys didn't know, I still play every now and again. Yu-Gi-Oh! is still an interest of mine, just like interest that I don't really tackle on the channel, like League of Legends and all that good jazz. But a lot of people have convinced me to really tackle Yu-Gi-Oh! videos, because I think I'm pretty adept when it comes to the lore of Yu-Gi-Oh!, the gameplay of Yu-Gi-Oh! and all that stuff, and the key keepers at PAX East are like, hey, you should go do it, so I'm doing this for you guys. But this deck that I'm about to show you guys is a unique mix between Shaddolls. I love Shaddolls. I'm a sucker for dark spellcaster types, and you guys know this if you saw my old videos. It's a mixture between Shaddolls and my ever-existing spell counter deck, which is a Shaddoll spell counter deck. I used to do a lot of spell counter decks back in the day. Spell counter, aggressive spell counter, passive spell counter. But now this is my Shaddoll spell counter deck. The reason why I decided to put Shaddolls together is because my homeboy Gameboy that knew I love dark type and spellcasters, but my spell counter deck was just not fast enough. And he introduced me to Shaddolls. He gave me a bunch of Shaddoll cards, which I use to combine into my spell counter deck, because originally he wanted me to do Shaddolls mixed with Light Sworns, but I found out, like, hey, if I put these two together, it's a good engine for my spell counters, so it makes the deck run a lot faster, and the combined effects of Shaddolls and the spell counters act to lock down my opponent and bottlenose their swarming abilities, because I hate fucking swarming, like Black Wings and Light Sworns and Pendulums. And this deck is a great counter for that, and it's, you know, it's won a lot of matches, it's topped at a couple of tournaments, so, locals, I mean. And I feel like this is a really good deck, so let's get into it with the deck build for my Shaddoll spell counter deck. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, all that good jazz for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos. I have another deck video coming soon if you guys enjoyed this one. And I might live stream some Yu-Gi-Oh! Dev Pro, so enough digression, let's get into the deck build. Now this is the Shaddoll spell counter deck. I was able to construct it thanks to the help of my friend. Shaddolls are a really good engine for the spell counter deck. I love running spell counter decks, but they're kind of slow, but this helps it out. So deck build goes out like this. Is 2 Shaddoll Falcos. You can run 3, but personally I like to run 2 to have a little bit more variety, and having 2 Falcos gets the job done if you know what Falco does. Falco! That's 2 Shaddoll Falcos. Next we have 2 Shaddoll Hedgehog, a great search engine for your Shaddoll magic or traps, and you know, you keep bringing them back, so I run 2 of these, not 3, just 2. Shaddoll Dragons, he's a good beat stick for your Shaddolls if you want to attack with 1900 attack, and his flip effect is really good, and his kill effect is really good. You can either pop a back row if it gets killed, or when you flip him, he sends a card back to the opponent's hand. Then we run 2 Squamata! Squamata is a very good beast stick as well. 1800 attack, destroys monster when flipped, and Squamata really pops off well when he dies and sends another Shaddoll card to the grave, pops off their effect, so he's a good way to get Falco or the next one cut up, which is Shaddoll Beast. And Shaddoll Beast is really good to have when you need some draw power or whatever. You can easily, you know, ditch him from your hand or from the deck in order to get that draw off effect. Or if you actually get him on the field, you know, the flip, and then you send another card from your hand to the graveyard while drawing 2 cards, and you get to pop off another Shaddoll effect. Man, Shaddoll was so good. Shaddoll Hound. Definitely my least favorite of all the Shaddolls. I run 1 of him, but he's good to have. Now, those are it for Shaddolls, and now I go into my spell counter spellcasters, which is Breaker the Magical Warrior. This guy's been around here forever. I love Breaker, very good utility effect, and one of my favorites, Defender the Magical Knight. As long as you have spell counters, you can keep spellcasters alive with Defender. And this includes all the Shaddolls, since they're all spellcasters. Alright, I run 2 of him. I would run 3, but I run 2 in order to keep space for 3 magical exemplars. You already know what this baby does. You can sacrifice a number of spell counters on the field in order to summon a spellcaster from your hand or graveyard who match the number of spell counters you have in terms of levels. So she's really good to bust out that Falco and get, you know, some synchronization going. I run 1 Endymion because I love Endymion. He's cool. His effect is really good when you just, you know, destroy cards as long as you have magic cards in the field. Helps pop off from the Citadel, and you can use him as fodder. He works way better he does in the graveyard than he does in your hand. If you need to ditch a card, you ditch Endymion first. Like, get that guy in your graveyard. Next, I run 2 Citadel of Endymions. These are your powerhouses. This is where you store your magic counters. So I run 2 of these babies, alright, just in case one gets destroyed. It's really hard to destroy these cards, but I always run 2 just in case. Alright, 2 MSTs. I got 1 Ghost Ray. 2 MSTs, because, you know, they're MSTs. 2 Spellbook of Wisdom, since this is a very spellcaster heavy deck. You can use the Spellbook of Wisdoms in order to get counters and protect your spellcasters. Alright. 2 Spell Power Grasps in order to generate spell counters, and I run 2 instant fusions in order to summon out my fusions a lot faster, including Magician King and that Nordic King, which helps get out Utopia a lot faster. So that synchronizes well with the Shaddolls. Now I have Shaddoll Fusion, 1 Shaddoll Fusion, and 1 El Shaddoll Fusion. I run 1 of each. I would run another Shaddoll Fusion because El Shaddoll Fusion is at 1, I believe, and I would run more, but I can't because it's at 1. But I would run more Shaddoll Fusions. These are good. El Shaddoll is a quick play fusion card. Shaddoll Fusion allows you to fuse from your deck if they have an extra deck monster on the opponent's side of the field. So these guys are good. These are the backbone, and you can get them easily thanks to the Shaddoll's effects, which bring back magic and trap cards from the graveyard. Terraforming to bust that Magic Citadel, Book of Moon, Foolish Burial to help bust out Squamata, and Squamata bust out Falco, and you have Falco on the field, and you know what Falco does. So Foolish Burial is a must. Allure of Darkness, just in case you need draw power. This entire deck is dark except for Magical Exemplar and Defender. Allure of Darkness in order to get that draw power. Dark Hole if you just want to destroy shit, and Dark Hole will pop off Shaddoll effects, so it works really well in this deck if it doesn't, you know, work in any other deck. Kaiser Colosseum. This card is old as fuck, and I love using Kaiser Colosseum. It helps bottlenose a lot of your opponent's monsters and fields. It does the same for you because with Kaiser Colosseum, if you don't know what this card does, as long as you have a monster on your side of the field, your opponent cannot play more monsters than you. So this Shaddoll deck is a very restricting deck. It restricts them special summoning and trying to flood their field. Kaiser Colosseum helps that exponentially. Alright, Mind Control, because Mind Control. We run 2 Sinister Shadow games. Now we're getting to the chops. So what this does is when you flip it, you get the Son of Shaddoll. That's automatic Shaddoll effect right there, and then flip as many Shaddoll cards you have on the field to get their flip effects. Alright, we run 2 Shaddoll Core is a good way to get a wall going if you need it, or just, you know, fusion material for the Shadolls that I don't run in terms of elementals. Alright, Torrential Tribute pops off Shaddoll effects once again, great card just like Dark Hole. Then I also run Solemn Scolding in order to get rid of any really nasty looking cards they might want to summon or activate, including Judgment Dragon, fuck that bitch, and Mirror Force. Alright, that's the main deck. The main deck I believe runs around 44. I like to run cards a little above 40. I know 40 is the norm, but I like to run cards a little more than 40. Now we get into the extra deck. The extra deck is Tempest. Whoops, let's fix that a little bit. My thing is actually a little messed up. Okay, we should be good for the most part. Alright, so the first I run 6 Synchros, and I run 3 Tempest Magicians. If you know what Tempest does, oh boy, Tempest is great for burning the shit out of people, especially when you have spell counters. Tempest Magician, I just store a bunch of counters, summon Tempest, finished. Alright, 3 Tempest Magicians, 3 Arcanite Magicians, because these guys are powerful as fuck when it comes to spell counters. You can pop as many cards on the field as you want as long as you have spell counters, and if you want to empower this guy with spell counters, he gains 1,000 attack for each. Alright, so any automatically gains 2, 2,400, gets another one, 3,400, gets fucked. Alright, now we get into the fusions, and the first fusion is Elder Entity Norden. I know he's a weird looking card, but what he does is when you fusion summon him, you get to summon another 4-star monster from your grave, and then I usually use instant fusion for this. I summon another monster. That monster will die if Norden dies, and Norden dies at the end of the turn. But use those 2 monsters to exit into a 4-star, like Dark Rebellion XYZ Dragon, which I proxy, and Utopia. And then Utopia you put on top of Utopia the Lightning. So that's one. Instant fusion, this guy, a 4-star, Exceed, Utopia the Lightning, or XYZ Dark Rebellion Dragon, right there. Alright. I also run Magician King, a very easy way to summon Arcanite Magician. If you have Falco Ray on the field, instant fusion, summon this dude, Synchro, Arcanite Magician right there. Alright. And the next one is 2 Shaddoll Windas. This is like one of my favorite cards in the deck. Shaddoll Winda, you fuse together 2 dark monsters. One of them has to be a Shaddoll, and you get Winda on the field. Winda has 2200 attack points, which is a good amount of attack. Also, it cannot die from card effects, and you're no one can special summon more than once per turn while Winda is on the field. So Winda is another good card to bottlenose your opponent's monsters. I also run Grysta for the hell of it. Grysta has a cool effect, but I don't summon her as much as I want because it's fire type, and I have to use Shaddoll Core in order to summon. But I do summon Sheikinaga a lot more than Grysta since I have Magical Exemplar, which I can use to fuse with a Shaddoll in order to make Sheikinaga! Sheikinaga is pretty beefy, and I love Sheikinaga's effect as well. If only Construct wasn't fucking bad. And last but not least, we have Utopia! I proxy Utopia the Lightning and XYZ, Dark XYZ Rebellion Dragon, which I'm going to get really soon. But this is Utopia the Lightning, and yeah, you exceed into him using the Norden cards. The Norden and the Instant Fusion and the shit like that. All in all, this deck, I feel that spell counters, I love using spell counters because I love their concept or whatever, but they're pretty slow. But with the Shaddoll as their engine, they work a lot faster and have a lot more surprises. So when you combine these two concepts together, it spells doom for your opponent. It's done pretty well in tournaments. I've topped a couple of times, and it's great. So like we get 5 cards. Hopefully this shuffles enough because this thing was like whatever. All right, so we have Falco and Warrior on the field already. So like this, summon Breaker, Break, put another counter on Breaker. Since I already have the other spell paragraphs, I can't search the deck. So he's there. What if he dies at the end of the turn? Okay, he dies. All right, we put out Falco. We usually would set Falco, but then Falco's top draw. Shaddoll Fusion right there. So instant fusion. What we do is instant fusion into Magician King. Magician King, you can either synchro into fucking Arcanite, or I can use instant fusion in order to summon fucking Norden's on the field, summon back what's his face right here, and then exit those 2 for Utopia. And if my opponent decides to pop off an extra deck card on their side of the field, I'll have Falco just in case to do Shaddoll Fusion, and then just go ahead and fuse for Winda using some kind of product from my deck. And since I'm sending a card from my deck to the graveyard using Shaddoll Fusion, which is a magic card, I can do what's his face. I can do since I had a low hand, I can just easily send Squamata, and then Squamata sends Beast. All right, and then I draw another card, Shaddoll Fusion right there. A pretty good engine all in all, and I feel that this deck can get a lot of things done. So yeah, that's my Shaddoll spell counter deck. I hope you guys enjoyed it. The full list is right here. I'll probably try to leave a full list in the comments in the description box. Please tell me what you think about this deck. Do you think it could use any tweaks? What would you recommend taking out? What would you recommend putting in? And all in all, please subscribe to HMK for more Yu-Gi-Oh videos because I'm gonna get into the groove of doing this. Also, I have another interesting deck that I made on my own that I will post a bit later, maybe in a week, if you guys really enjoyed this video. So, until next time, I've been HMK, and I'll check you guys later.